Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
hello.
How's it going, Ken?
Good, good. It's good to see your face.
Yeah, likewise. Uh,
Yeah.
and welcome, everybody. I'm Glenn Aspesley.
I'm Ken Aspersley. We're brothers, twin brothers,
I just,
and I'm coming to you live from Amesbury, Massachusetts. I got Katie over here
um,
helping out.
and I'm in North Andover in my office. We thought we would do our Q&A on Zoom today. Uh, the Zoom integration is kicking butt over here. It's just like I'm here with Ken in the same room,
Yeah, and
in the same live stream.
I'm coming through at 1080
Nice.
into Glenn's running Ecamm Live on his laptop. I'm just over here on Zoom on my laptop. Um, I'm connected to internet through a hotspot on my iPhone
Nice. Like,
because
I can't
bizarrely that
even,
seemed.
I don't know about you guys at home, but like, if I just walked over and looked at this stream, I could not even tell which one was remote, which one of us is remote and which one of us is like a local camera. That's how good the quality is.
Well, yeah, it's a 1080 stream. I mean, it's crystal clear on both sides. So very cool stuff.
And Zoom really handles a lot of that, like, the noise cancellation, audio processing and everything. So I don't, no headphones over here, just chilling and chatting with Ken.
It looks like we got 80 people watching, Glenn. I've got the YouTube pulled up over here on a different computer. I've got the
Nice.
video paused, but I can still see the comments and the viewer count and stuff. And we've only got 9 thumbs up.
I got,
So
it's showing me that we have 12. I don't know.
um, one of our customers, Matt, sent us these really cool little wooden signs. So I can do
I
this.
like
Ready?
that.
Ready?
But
Now,
yes.
hopefully, YouTube doesn't care that this is a Facebook thumbs up.
Oh, is that a Facebook thumbs up?
Um, well, remember, didn't YouTube get mad at us for using not the black outlined thumbs up, for using a blue one, and they told us that we were violating
I think we were just
the terms
using
of service.
so we were just using the yellow like Mac OS emoji thumbs up for
Oh,
the thumbs up. And the last time that YouTube did a review of Ecamm Live, like they make sure we want to that we're complying with um all of the rules for YouTube, and they were like, that is not our thumbs up symbol. That is just some random yellow emoji. So that's why if you notice in the latest version of Ecamm Live, the little thumbs up icon has changed.
there's never a dull moment when it comes to Ecamm Live. It's always there's always something that we're trying to get perfect, get everyone working perfectly with. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Paul, like
let's start. Should we start the show here, Glenn?
Paul's saying, don't make YouTube mad. Like the fact that that's all that they complained about was just wonderful, and we were actually very pleased with that. That's all that they were telling us to do. But yeah, today is our um is our monthly Q&A. Uh, Eden
Monthly?
Eden was saying in the comments at the beginning, like um that she hadn't seen our Q&As in a while, and I think that might just be because like we actually didn't do one in a while, right? When's the last time we did a Q&A?
I think we like skipped the holidays and then we skipped January. Well, it's almost, I mean, it's still
Yeah,
January, but yeah, you're right. It's been a while.
but we're back and we're here to take your questions on Ecamm Live. Also, feature requests are great, although like for a feature request, we might not have a lot to say about it except for like cool, yeah, but
Well,
it's still
unless it's something that's groundbreaking that
yeah.
it's
But
never occurred to us. And we're like,
don't
oh my
hesitate
God,
don't
you're
hesitate to
right.
send in those feature requests. We go through all the comments on the video afterwards, even if we don't respond to them during the stream, or even if you're watching a replay. Like we pay attention and we use that information to figure out what to do with the app.
Yeah. And then also, if you have like a tech question, that's perfect for this kind of situation. But if you have like a bug report or something, or you're having an issue that would might be better helped by like getting in touch with support. Getting in touch with support might be a better forum for like like a legit like bug you're seeing where it's like you know you're doing it right, but it's like not doing what it's supposed to do. Contact support instead, unless like you no, you can still write it, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
why
might
not?
not like answer the question on live
Yeah,
on the stream.
so before we get started on the Q&A, we do have one item of business here. Um, our regular viewers may know about the Gold Mug Club, but why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the Gold Mug Club, Ken?
Um, so this is an example of the gold
Oh,
mug.
you've got one there. Nice.
Um, it says Ecamm fam on it. It's made out of solid 24 karat gold.
Yeah, don't put that in the microwave.
No, wait. Oh no, wait. This is just like a gold colored mug, but
Okay.
it's very realistic. It says Ecamm fam. It's and this goes out to Ecamm community members who've gone above and beyond to differentiate themselves from the rest of the group that month. And we try to pick people who we think have really like outdone themselves on the community, helping people, coming to the rescue, things like that. Right, Katie? Is that basically the idea?
Yeah, we recognize
She's
Ecamm
on. She's
Ecamm
listening on
fam
headphones, so she's on a
members.
4 second latency.
Nice. We
Crazy.
recognize members each month, and we have selected, or the crew has selected three winners for the gold mug for this episode of the Q&A, and I have wired up this the Ecamm button to announce the winners. This is
Oh,
the
oh
Ecamm
man.
this is the Ecamm button. It's actually an HID device that just sends F4 to the Mac, and then I have a key. I programmed an F4 for a scene in my Ecamm Live, and that scene has some stuff in it. So I'm gonna without further ado announce the gold mug winners by pressing this button. Ready?
I'm ready.
That is just the best thing ever.
Excellent
Con-
graphic.
Congratulations to Ella Glasgow, Binyan, Marianne Crest, and Anne Elise Webb. You are our gold mug winners. Get in touch. You are
And
the
thanks to
recipient of the gold mug. Thank you for your contributions to the community. Uh, if you're watching at home and you're like, why haven't I won a gold mug yet? Put that in the comments. Demand a gold mug
and thank you to
because,
Paul Dixon for creating that graphic. Play it again, Glenn, just for fun.
okay, ready? Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's a cool Ecamm Live feature there. That
How did he
we're
make that? Like,
so he just rigged up these overlays.
but the
So
the coins with the E on them, I mean, like,
that was, I think, I don't know where those came from, but basically, like, this is a like just some text overlays and a WebM animation overlay and an applause sound effect. And he was able to just set up that scene for me and then export the scene and just email it to me. And I was able to bring it into my Ecamm Live. So easy to do. If you haven't tried exporting a scene, you literally just like, you take the scene and you just drag it to the desktop. Boop. And that's how
and it's
easy
a
it is to export a scene to send to someone else. Uh,
and they just double click it and it comes
yeah,
into their E.
double clicking it just loads it right in. And then I was just able to like pop that into my Ecamm. So easy. Well, thanks,
Nice.
guys. Congratulations for your.
Woohoo!
I don't know. Someone made those cool coins. All right, should we get into the questions here? And we should. Oh, one thing before we start. Um, the last stream we did was a beta stream. We like to drop these kind of like impromptu live streams when we do a beta version of the app. So if you're running the beta, feel free to ask questions about the beta because that's kind of top of mind for us. We are in beta land right now working on new features. So don't hesitate to like mention them or ask about them as well.
Yeah, they're not secret. It's a public beta that you can all join at ecamm.com/beta and take advantage of help us test out some of those new features.
Yeah, it's working pretty well. So I now is the time to try that out and do your. Right now I'm on a new build uh, that it seems to be working great. we might if we like suddenly freeze or crash, that we just blame it on the beta. All right, question time. I'm gonna go and I'm in my comments and reactions window here. You can see like all my YouTube comments are coming through into Ecamm, and I just am searching using this little search box, and I typed in Q colon to see if people have prefaced their questions with Q colon. And I'm showing you my screen right now with a feature called um, live demo mode, which is basically just a way to tell Ecamm, like, I want to show people what's on my screen, kind of short circuit the whole thing, and just instead of sending the camera view, send my screen. So I just do Command Shift D, and now you can see my whole screen. Before you do that, make sure there's nothing embarrassing on your screen. You can also set up a Stream Deck button for that. So I have my Stream Deck here, and I can toggle live demo mode with that as well.
Nice.
All right, questions.
And I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I can't sort the questions like Glenn can inside of Ecamm,
Oh, because you're
but I
not,
can still see the chat scrolling by.
yeah. All right,
John's got a good one that just came through.
a new one?
He says, "Are there more unannounced beta features beyond what's in the beta?"
Pro- uh, there's a lot of things in the beta.
But
So
things that we didn't, things that are unannounced as to yet.
yeah, probably not like it's probably those are probably the features for this beta. When in a development cycle, uh, at a certain point you have what's called like feature freeze, like okay, like and we have
What?
to like and we love adding new features, so we have to like impose this on ourselves. Like okay, we're feature frozen. We're not going to add any new major things to the app now. We're just going to focus on fixing things that don't work right. But I did add a new thing. If you use webinar Q&A, there was a great post on the Ecamm Live beta community on Facebook with people, some of our members that use Zoom's webinar Q&A feature, saying, it kind of makes sense to have support for that in Ecamm Live because putting those questions on the screen is like a big deal. So we have expanded the Q&A feature to so you can just view just the open webinar questions and put those on the screen. So
Oh, cool.
watch for that in the next beta.
I did actually add a little last minute feature
Oh, you did
in
too?
response
Okay.
to I think it was Daniel. I'm sorry if it wasn't Daniel and it was one of the other moderators, but I think it was Daniel. It was like, why doesn't live motion, like our new animated transition feature, animate changes in digital zoom level, the
Oh,
digital pan and
interesting.
zoom like camera effects? And so I dug in and it seemed like it was doable. It was a little different because none of the things we animate now are camera effects. They're like they're overlay settings. But I
Nice.
was able to animate the camera effect between scenes. So if you have one scene where you've like digitally zoomed in on you and another scene that is like less digitally zoomed and you go between them with live motion, it will animate the pull in and the pull out, which is pretty neat. So
Nice.
that's going to be cool because it will allow you to like kind of do that kind of pull out effect animated
Nice. Yeah,
or like
if you haven't seen the live motion feature in the beta, it is just the coolest thing we've ever added to Ecamm. Like I have a scene set up like watch this, ready? Wow, that's
that
so
was neat.
cool. So it'll as you transition through your scenes, it's kind of like Apple's if you use Keynote like the what do they call it?
Magic move.
Magic Move. So that's in Ecamm now. So like this is just a two up camera scene, and this is like two overlays in a movie mode scene, and it just like animates between them. Or if I go to like a scene that's just me in camera mode, you get these nice smooth animations. Very cool, and maybe like a really nice reason to switch over to trying out the beta. But we're pretty excited about that. All right, let's hit more of these questions. Uh, Darren, thanks for joining us. Darren says he wants to connect two cameras through two cam links into one port on an M3 MacBook Pro. what specs do I need in a hub? This is a great question because like these MacBook Pros, they are so powerful, they are so great, but you know, they've only got three holes, and one of them is probably power. Man, my this thing's tracking me. One is power, right? And one is probably your camera, and you run out fast. Uh, and if you use these
And the Cam Link,
little dinky USB hubs, they're not going to cut it.
yeah, the Cam Link, a lot of people don't realize sends an uncompressed or YEV compressed signal over the USB and uses an incredible amount of USB bandwidth. It's not sending what you would think it's sending a full, like, so if you're doing 1080 or 4K, it's like the USB bandwidth these cam links use is incredible. I know we do have customers using multiple cam links, and you can run into problems if you have like a high bandwidth soundboard and then multiple cam links. So I would just get, what do we have? We have here is this Thunderbolt dock. This says OWC.
Yeah, I think the key is, Darren, you want a Thunderbolt dock. They will have a big, like the plug looks just like a USB-C cable, but it's like usually the wire will be like short and chunky and have a
It
little
has
lightning
has
bolt
the
symbol.
lightning bolt on it. The
Yeah, but
Thunderbolt.
the key is you don't want a USB hub. You want something that advertises itself as a Thunderbolt dock. And these will also help you, they will help you power your Mac. They will support displays. They're pretty powerful. And I think that's what
Like an Ethernet port
OWC you
on them,
said?
usually.
Yeah, these Thunderbolt docks are great and super high bandwidth cables that will connect to your MacBook Pro and give you tons more ports. I don't have a dock here, but what I'm using to connect a bunch of my cameras is the Apple Studio display.
Oh,
Yeah, the Studio display has a big Thunderbolt cable, and then it has two or three more ports on the back. So I'm just using that for my as
oh
a
yeah. When we were
Thunderbolt
doing
hub.
the beta stream, we're like, oh no, how are we gonna plug in all these extra cameras? Because we wanted to show off like all the cameras at once, and then yeah, you were like, there's like four more USB ports on the back of the big expensive Apple Studio display. So it's like a
Nice.
free hub
Yeah, yeah.
kind of.
All right. Tennis Life is joining us. Um, and this is a question for all sports communities. This is a little difficult to read. I'm going to darken this up a little bit. Here we go. Um, when are you going to add replay? Ken?
Well, I have had requests for this from, mostly from sports streamers. We've gone a little bit towards the ability to replay, because in the beta there's a quick key command to like end your recording and start a new one, and that way you could go back and grab the recording that you just kind of restarted and grab the previous
Yeah,
recording
yeah. Yeah, there
and
is.
and find. And this is basically what replay would be. It would be like a background recording that you could then cut back to, cue, and play. So
That
while there's no like built-in super slick instant replay feature yet, it's definitely on the drawing board. And
yeah, the Tennis Life, I don't know your name, but can put in the comments or send to support like to show us like an example of what you want that feature to look like. Like if there's some sort of like a standard way to do that that would kind of get us inspired, like send it over so we can see what that would look like. But what Ken was referring to was in the current beta version of the app, there's a new command in here in the menu, start new recording. And what that will do is if I pick this right now, it'll crash. it'll it'll you won't really see anything happen,
yeah, like it's invisible.
but it basically stopped the recording file that it was making and started a new one. So if I go to my recordings now, I should have like a completed file, and then I can just like open it up. Yeah, so I can watch that recording. So I can make a clip of this And yeah, there's my intro.
You could
So
do an instant replay.
yeah, I'm gonna do an instant replay. So I'm just gonna use the Mac's built-in um, trim feature to save this, and I'll bring this in as a movie.
Instant replay feature yet? It's definitely on the drawing board. Instant replay feature yet? It's definitely on the drawing board, and
Yeah, that I'm way too easily amused, but it works. Yeah,
instant replay. So
but
we would just need to kind of wrap a kind of like playback interface around that, let you like set an in point and an out point and like hit run it into your stream.
yeah, but like I said, I'd love to see probably get inspired by like how other apps are doing it for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Sean Silvera sent in a question, um, and we've seen this before. Like, would you ever consider having the scheduling live stream function to actually start your live stream also at the time you scheduled it? Um,
We should just add that. I mean,
yeah, that I mean, it freaks me out to like that it would like start streaming without human intervention, but I'm sure there are a lot of use cases for this. I mean,
it could
since
be
this
auto. You
is
could just be playing a clip, or
yeah, I mean, since this is like an app on your Mac and not like a cloud thing, like we want to make sure that users don't think it's gonna like stream something even if like your Mac's not on, right? Like it's not something you're scheduling in the cloud, but it could definitely start automatically, like if it was a replay.
I think what people want to do is like they're yeah, it's like not necessarily live. It's like a movie, and
Simulive.
oh, and they just want it to kick off at a time and run for half an hour and end. Like that would be cool. Yeah, Simulad. There was a point in time where I think Facebook has had a policy to not allow that.
Yeah, I don't think
Remember?
that they care anymore.
They don't care anymore. But like I think the reason that was never in there from the start was because it was like technically among many other things against their terms of service to have like a live that was pre-recorded
Yeah, don't
where you
try
did
that.
not.
Don't try that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very testy about what you stream. Do not try
Really?
it. Yeah, because I'll be testing it sometimes, and they'll like basically like ban my videos because I'm sending not a person talking live.
What are you sending, Glenn?
Just like a loop or just a black screen or something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know. French Press Finance, thanks for joining us. French Press wants to know, is there a way to take all the Ecamm windows and either minimize them all at once or move them all to another desktop space after opening? Not really, right, Ken? I mean, there's some ability to do things in the window menu. Like there is arrange all windows, which basically just puts everything kind of back to factory. And there's
But if you
hide
moved
all.
like if you moved the main window to another desktop and then did an arrange all windows, I wonder if that would pull them all over to the screen that the main window's on.
I think it would. Like there's this concept, Mac OS has this concept of like what display the app is running in, which is kind of ambiguous and weird. But I do think you're right that like if you open the app in the other display and then pick this arrange all windows feature, I think it will arrange them in the other display. As far as minimizing them, like these like heads up display style windows, I don't think you can ever minimize them, right? It's not a thing.
If you just wanted them all to go away though, you can just do a hide Ecamm live, right? And they will just
Well, there is a hide all
and that's
utility windows. We'll hide
but I
them
mean
all
if
for
you
sure.
but if you just do a hide from the like the app menu, like go to the finder and then do a hide others, it will yeah, everything's gonna go away if that's just and then when you
I don't think that's what French press is trying to do though, because what would be the point of that?
I don't
I don't know.
know.
But that would be an interesting thing to add. the
He
ability
just feels
to,
like Ecamm's cluttering up his screen and he's trying to get more organized.
yeah, or if you're switching over to one
He or
display,
she.
if you're switching everything over to another display, there's no obvious way to say like, okay, move everything over all at once. I think
Hmm.
that the way to do it would be to use that arrange feature to bring them over.
If in
Um,
fact it does that.
yeah, and
It's
then there's
it's like
macOS
someone's
kind of
telling you.
has a mind of its own when it comes to multiple displays, and where the windows go. Like we've definitely had reports of the windows just like getting all jumbled up when displays change, and we've never been able to figure that out.
Yeah.
I
And if
think
you're
we
just
just have
joining
too
us,
many windows.
Glenn is the one running Ecamm Live at our headquarters, and I'm at the Ecamm studio, just joining in via Zoom on a 1080 connection to Zoom, and I'm just connected to the internet on a phone hotspot. And I guess there must be some serious 5G here down in downtown Amesbury, because it's like I'm not getting any packet loss or interference or anything.
Great, great. Next question we have is from Tommy Ellison. Is there a video or info on creating and using a personal and permanent Zoom meeting link from within Ecamm Live to use for our frequent meetings? Um, yeah, there is a way to do the personal meeting. Um, I
Or
can't
just
really
show
show
when you're
you.
in a Zoom.
I have to take Ken off. I have to hang up on Ken. Like I guess I could do that.
Oh,
No,
cool.
no offense, but I'll be right back, Ken. I want to show Tommy how to do this. So if I end my meeting here, leave meeting, bye, Ken. Um, there is this tiny little arrow here. You probably can just barely see it on the 1080 stream. If you click this, there's this checkbox, use personal meeting ID, and I'm actually using mine right now. I just showed it to everyone. Nobody joined. Um, and that, if you have that picked, it should just show you, it should just use your personal meeting ID. And it's that simple. And I'm back in, and Ken's still here. Yeah, so that's my personal meeting, and I didn't end it. So Ken just came right back in to my personal meeting. And Ecamm Live
Hello.
remembered it was him and put him right back into his camera position automatically. I just love this Zoom integration. It is so easy to use and
And
so great.
I don't know if Glenn spoke to this when I wasn't on, but in addition to personal meeting ID, like Zoom will let you create a custom uh, vanity ID, they call it behind the scenes, where it's like Ecamm or whatever. Like it has to, instead of the numbers, if you go to the Zoom settings web login, you can make like your own word that is your link. And you can also create, like if you're a company, a custom URL.
That's right.
So like our link is, it looks very custom because it's like ecamm.zoom or whatever slash ecamm live or something. And that's permanent, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the Zoom meeting SDK is very powerful and lets us do a lot of stuff and have a lot of flexibility. So Tommy, if you think there is indeed some sort of a thing that you can do in the native Zoom app, but not in Ecamm Live, that we haven't sufficiently explained, get in touch and we can probably add it because we can really do everything that Zoom can do. Not everything, almost everything.
We can't do like the avatars, like the face changing.
We
For
can't
some
add
reason,
mustaches.
no, for some reason that's like locked out of the SDK clients.
Probably a licensing thing.
Maybe.
Roderick says, is it possible to add a video in Ecamm Live and not play as full screen? There's a couple ways to do this. Uh, you can add a video overlay, and for reasons unexplained, um, right now a video overlay will only have sound if it's a WebM. That just is kind of like a detail of how we implemented it. We are planning on eventually adding sound to the non-WebM overlays, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
the video overlays they originally meant for like to be like animated frames or like things that didn't need sound.
Yeah, that's
That's
why we
why
did
we.
it. But yeah, basically just bring it in as an overlay. So if you drag, if you then the way to do that is really just kind of like drag it in. Like um like if you drag a movie in to um to the main window, that's going to go full screen, right? But if I drag it into the overlays window and just let go, it's going to say, are you sure that you're doing that? Like add an animated overlay. You say yes. And now I just have this is that instant replay video I made earlier. And as I mentioned, like it doesn't play with sound unless it's a WebM formatted video. But that's the way to do it. And then there's another like sort of hacky way to do it, which is to use the picture in picture feature and flip the picture in picture. So let me show you how that's done. If I just play um, that movie.
Instant replay feature yet? It's definitely on the drawing board, and
Yeah, and then I picked show picture in picture from the options menu. That brought us in.
mhm.
And then this is kind of a hidden feature, I guess you could say. But there's a little loopy button here,
Little recycling logo.
click the recycling logo, and that's going to swap the movie and the picture in picture. So now
Oh,
you have a movie in the
so
picture
that's
in
the movie
picture.
now.
Yeah. So you're still in movie mode, but now the movie is the picture in picture and the cameras are not in picture in picture. So I still have this nice play bar, full size play bar and everything, and I can play it. Tennis Life, I don't know your name, but instant replay.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's helpful for that instant replay feature too. And if you go back to just go back to camera mode and you're back to normal.
Cool.
All right, these are great questions. Thanks everyone for coming up with these. Um, should I read them first and then put them up on the screen, or put them on the screen and then read them? Uh, D Creative Vision wants to know if I'm remote producing, can I stream to my client's social media page through permissions without requesting their login information?
I've
What?
heard this one. I was asking somebody like why were they using Restream instead of just to go to like YouTube and not just going directly from Ecamm. And I never got all the details about this, but they said it was because that was how they did it, so they didn't have to log into their client's YouTube. And
Right,
maybe one
right.
of the more knowledgeable moderators or Katie or somebody could chime in about what that, like how Restream does it in a way that doesn't require login. So Decreative Vision, you may want to check out Restream because apparently that's how other people are doing it. And I apologize if we're being stupid about this and there's some easier way to through permissions, as you say, connect people to YouTube, but I don't think we
Yeah,
have that ability, right?
it's YouTube is very stingy about that. Like they have this whole concept of roles, right? Like if you
Okay.
have a brand account and you have like a moderator roles and editor roles and manager roles, but when you log in, if you link Ecamm to your YouTube, unfortunately, only managers can live stream, and that makes no sense at all. There's like a whole role called I forget what it's called, but it would sound like it's the name of the role sounds like someone who should be able to live stream, but it's just not. So when we have like our community people, like our Ecamm fam, um, content creators do a live stream to Ecamm Live, we literally have to make them a manager, which is pretty dumb and probably a good way to like really mess up your YouTube security. But like Ken was saying, I know people can work around this by like using a tool like Restream that has giving Restream permission and then giving that client, um, giving the remote producer the ability to log into Restream, which is not really solving the problem, but at least it's kind of keeping your YouTube manager role safe from rando people that rogue remote producers. The security is nothing to laugh about because if someone has a manager role, they can do anything to your YouTube, including deleting your entire channel. And it's not just the scenario of like a rogue manager, right? Like, what if someone hacks that that remote producer's computer, right? Um, like the remote producer might be well intentioned, but like someone could hack them, and then you wake up one morning and your YouTube channel is hawking crypto. Not a good thing.
And we laugh, but that does happen to people.
Um, here's a Zoom question. Gord says, when I use the dual monitor function in Zoom and I pull up an application on my Mac to the foreground, the second Zoom monitor disappears and I cannot find a way to get it back. Have you tried the dual monitor function in Zoom, Ken?
Not lately.
Pull up an application on my Mac to the foreground. Sorry, neither one of us know about the Zoom dual monitor feature. But right now, I'm using my second monitor as like just a program monitor for Ecamm. But I do know that Zoom has a lot of capabilities to do stuff with the second monitor. I think hopefully people can help you in the comments, Gord. Sorry. GeoSynths has a question about the beta, um, which has the ability to steer pan, tilt, zoom cameras, including NDI cameras. He or she is saying, I use two NDI cameras and can use the controls and store presets. How do I name the presets? There is no way to name the presets right now, but that is on our to-do list. We are feature frozen. I don't think we're going to add that for 4.4, but probably for the next release. It's just a matter of adding those user interface elements. I should quickly show off this because I just love the way this came out. Pan, tilt, zoom cameras now just get this tiny little pan, tilt, zoom icon, and each one of your pan, tilt, zoom cameras has a little steering window where you can zoom in and out, um, and he's referring to these presets, which right now can't be named, but they will be named eventually, and you can save and restore those presets as needed.
And those presets are tied to camera placeholders, ABC placeholders. So you can, instead of, which you also can't name, but
But
I had a
but
great
that might be a
suggestion.
cool geosense if you haven't seen that. It's actually quite cool. Like, um, how can I demo this here? Um, yeah, I have my tail air. I have my oh I have an NDI camera here. So let me make a new scene. So this if I have a steerable camera, I can use these camera ABC concepts as placeholders, which might be a little better for you. So if I set camera A to oh, I took it out of the switcher. Put that back in. So if I set camera A to preset 1 and camera B to preset 2, now if I pick camera A, it should steer to that preset. If I pick camera B, it should steer to that. Oh, that was fast. Hi, everybody.
Someone had an interesting suggestion, Glenn. Yeah, it's confusing that like the camera can only be aimed at one place at a time.
Yeah.
And see how camera A and B are both showing the same picture because that's where the camera's pointing. Someone had an idea on the community that like, what if we could just like have, what if we just like showed a frozen thumbnail there so they could actually keep track of which one was which? Because like right now it's kind of strange, but like you could have maybe like somehow snapshot the image and then the switcher would show like where at least where it used to be that would like
Yeah.
be better than just
Yeah, it certainly does get confusing because with a pan tilt zoom camera, like it's only seeing one thing, right? But yeah, let us know if that works for you. But GeoSynths, watch for naming presets in the future. Dave Howard has a question about playthrough. This is also a beta related. When using playthrough to monitor the audio to see what filters are sounding like, there's a high latency. I'm guessing this is due to the video putting heavy load on the processor. Not improvable? Yeah, I noticed that too. There is kind of like a really noticeable latency on the audio monitor. And that just might be like our kind of like our whole pipeline, right? Like we're not trying to maximize that minimize that latency.
Yeah, I mean, our audio, you know, playthrough is not really meant to be a real time monitoring like where you'd have the headphones and be hearing yourself because it's more like the end of our pipeline. We just say send it to the speakers, and it's not a system like power thing. I mean, it doesn't take that much CPU to filter some audio. It's just how it's designed, and uh, the ability to turn playthrough on when you're adjusting your audio filters is something that we had in there just so you could hear it because it's kind of weird to be adjusting like your reverb or whatever when you can't we have to when you can't hear it live. um, and it's not really meant for like continuous monitoring because there is too much latency in it. And yeah, sorry about that. It could maybe be improved if we lowered our buffer size and
It is definitely
worked
weird to
on
hear
that.
it like a little later. Um,
Yeah,
Rohit
yeah.
is asking about interview mode. When can we expect HD ISO recordings of the guest videos? Any update on that?
Interview mode. It depends what you consider to be HD. The ISOs of the guests in interview mode are going to be 720, which is HD technically.
It is. Are you
It's
sure?
not SD. Yeah, HD refers to that 16 by 9 format, whereas SD is the old-fashioned 4 by 3 NTSC format. So technically, the ISOs from Zoom and from interview mode are HD. Um, I think what Rohit might be asking is, are we gonna allow 1080 in
Yeah, I think that's what he's.
interview mode? I think I need to look at how things might have evolved over the past year. The last time I looked, I believe there was a limitation on that just because in interview mode, your guest is joining through the browser and it depends on what the browser supports as far as that. But we should take a look. Maybe we can bump to HD to 1080 HD on that.
Yeah,
Um,
we should take circle back on that. Right
the
now,
issue
if you
though,
do,
Rohit, with ISOs that are 1080 is that there's a serious limit on how many HD recordings a computer can make at a time in real time. So you'll have your main recording of your show. For each additional guest that calls in and gets recorded at 1080, uh, you're putting additional load on the hardware encoder, and it really going to depend on what computer you're on at that point. But like on my brand new MacBook Pro, I can get like only a handful of those before it starts to
I thought you could get, yeah. Well, right
six or
now
seven.
with Zoom, you can make 1080 ISOs. If you have a 1080 Zoom account, you can make 1080 ISOs, and it does definitely like if you bring in 8 Zoom cameras and you're ISOing them all. That is one situation where we have seen the Mac start going.
Well,
Like,
you'll get a message if it that gets overloaded. You'll get a message that says like the ISO recording has stopped. In other words, like it can't like it has to be real time. If it can't encode in real time, there's no fallback. Like we don't lower the frame rate or decrease the resolution. It just stops. So 720 on the other hand, you could probably do 24 720s simultaneously and not and be fine. So, sorry if that's too technical, but um, I will
all
take
right.
a look at whether we could maybe could do a 1080 interview mode.
Yeah. Yeah, we should circle back on that.
And if you
Had
need 1080 Rohit, you may want to check out the Zoom integration. There are lots of differences, but it may serve your purposes.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. George Canellis asking if we can make our scrolling tickers better. Scrolling ticker tweak direction, speed of the scroll, option to have the text repeat immediately without the blank space at the end. Um, we could look at this for sure. Right now, as George pointed out, um, although we do have a scrolling ticker feature,
With a speed control.
it does have, maybe George didn't see the speed. Like, so the speed, so here's a scrolling ticker, a nice smooth scrolling ticker, smoother than the competition. But as George pointed out, it doesn't start out, well, if it was like a short like that, I don't know if that's a good example, but like it doesn't start like scrolling until until like the new version doesn't scroll and start coming on until the message is completely off the screen. And I guess
Or
that's
like a
just
marquee.
how we coded it up. I guess you would need a second one to come in with some space in between it. But as far as speed, if you move your arrow over the scrolling ticker, there's a little slider with an icon of what looks like a tortoise and another little icon that looks like a probably a rabbit or a hare. And this will change the speed. So this is the maximum speed, and that's the slowest speed is super slow. So um, yeah, that's a good suggestion. The
As far as
as
scroll direction, that's basically like how, if you're in a right to left language, like Hebrew, we will scroll in the other direction, but we kind of left that automatic.
Yeah, well, maybe George has some reason to scroll the other direction, but right now it's only going to scroll um, left to right if you're using like Hebrew, Arabic, Farsi, or Urdu. As everyone knows, those are the four right to left languages. Um, Next question. Bat40 Fired wants to know when we will see a random content selection tool for things like giveaways. There are so many good suggestions coming in right now.
When you're still in screen share. Random comment?
Yeah, random like forget well we've talked about giveaway features before. We never really had like a native giveaway feature. Since we don't have giveaway features in Ecamm, the best bet right now is to use a web widget to do that and bring the web widget into your broadcast. But yeah, basically this is like a way to pick a winner or
Hmm.
something in like a broadcast. Um, Something that is definitely on our list. And Russ McCann is asking, is there a plan to increase size and color of the volume slider numbers? Very hard to see small grayscale numbers really anywhere a slider is in the system. Um, yeah, and Russ is referring to like when you move your arrow over one of the sliders, you get this eensy weensy little number showing up. And of course, 100 is even smaller than the two-digit numbers. Um, yeah, I agree. We should probably make it easier to see. Ken, weren't you doing some work on increasing interface size?
Yeah, I have worked on a ability to have a text size adjustment for the whole app. Um, it's harder than it sounds, but it's almost right. It just missed the beta by a hair, so it'll be in the next sort of cycle. But I was able to tap into the Mac OS accessibility text size, and then we'll probably add our own slider so that you can use either, and that will grow all of the
Nice.
fonts in Ecamm. Not all of them, but like the ones that people are having trouble reading, like the scenes list, the overlays list. It sounds like the slider texts could be part of that, and any kind of buttons that are tiny could get bigger automatically. And
Nice.
I know some of our customers uh, would love to have easier to read text in those windows. So,
So I'm just
are you
reading
there?
these. Yeah, I
Are
got
you just
sidetracked by
reading
these
the
amazing
question?
questions. Um, Ian, good to see you. Is local recording on the roadmap? So this is referring to the idea of when someone joins remote, recording on their end I've also heard
Hmm.
this called like a double-ended recording. That is on our roadmap. It's something we want to support because, for podcasters using something like Riverside who expect this feature, it can be a great feature. It can be a lifesaver if someone has a bad connection or the connection drops. Um, to be honest, like with Zoom, like if you have a good connection, this is not something you need, but because it just comes through so so nicely. But for someone who doesn't have a good connection, this can be really important, and it is on our roadmap, Ian. Um,
I think part of it is like if you're doing a interview and you need studio quality sound, like there is a difference between like the
yeah,
sound that comes through a VoIP and something that was like recorded directly to your
yeah, but I
computer.
mean, it's still getting compressed. It's not like, I mean, maybe Riverside
There's a
is actually literally just like saving a wave file that because people don't want like any compression at all. But I don't know. That doesn't seem likely that people would be sending around wave files this day and age. But hey, you never know.
well,
Um,
there's lossless
yeah,
codecs
yeah.
that
So
could be
John's
used.
asking, now that we have live motion, is it possible to set overlay elements outside of the streaming canvas so that we can hide stuff outside to be brought in? Um, yeah, we did make a change in the beta in this that does this a little bit. Where before you could only drag overlays halfway off the canvas, now you can drag them like basically almost all the way off. If you drag them all the way
Almost
off,
all the way out.
well, if you drag them all the way off, like how are you going to get them back, right?
Well, I
Um,
think he wants maybe like un like a like in OBS, like your canvas is bigger than your
oh, right.
area that's streaming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. So like right now, like duplicate this scene and then drag. Like before you could only go like to here, but
Hmm.
now you could go, I think you can go like basically almost all the way.
Hmm.
So not all the
Is
way,
that useful
John.
for
Well, now when I go back to the other scene,
you kind
it's
of
the
pop
idea
in,
of like sliding off the screen. But
right?
um,
It's better than nothing, I guess.
yeah, so we'll have to think about the best way to support. I just love the way you can transition from like a camera scene to an overlay scene. Well done, Ken.
Oh yeah, and the split screen there that you're seeing in live motion, that's not in the current really released beta, so nobody try that. But it'll be in the next update we drop, um, along with that digital PTZ feature.
Cool, nice. Yeah, Russ is looking for a gallery view as a separate camera in Ecamm. This is something we've heard a lot. And I guess like maybe like we need to talk to people who want. I don't really fully understand what this would look like just like all the people, like or
I
like
started thinking about it, and like there's that video that people keep reposting to the community where the guy's in the middle and everybody is around him. And I was like, well, how many like people am I gonna need to even like experiment with this? Like, and there was like he had something like 25 or 30 guests because there were like six across the bottom, six across the top, and then four down the sides. And so you would need at least like you would need at least 20 people in the call to even begin to have a gallery around you. But let's say you did have a 20-person call. Um, we could, in theory, bring all those people in at a low res without breaking the without breaking the
well,
computer's brain.
I just mean like what does it look like as far as like I mean I can show you like my Zoom meeting. Like this is my Zoom meeting window, right? Um, so this would be like the gallery, I guess. It's in gallery mode. But like does it have names in the corner? Like how is it arranged? Um,
And like, how do you choose which Zoom guests are in the gallery? Like, if you have a
Yeah,
100-person call, is it just picking people at random,
yeah. I think
or
I
is it
can.
your
I
whole
mean,
gallery?
can you just screen share in the um the Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So here, I mean, if you really wanted the gallery, wait, why is it doing a? I guess it's not a good gallery right now. But if you want your gallery, you can bring it in as a screen share overlay of the Zoom meeting window.
we allow that,
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
but that's not a gallery. That's just the
Well,
show.
it's just you and me though.
But switch to gallery view, like what you were showing a second ago.
Well, I don't know why it's not. Maybe I picked the wrong thing. There it is. Here, there's my gallery.
So
So
you should
yeah,
just screen share the gallery into the background
yeah, and then I could crop it to get rid of the Chrome. Yeah, so here's my gallery.
of two.
Yeah, so there is a way to do it right now with screen share. We could just bring that in as a feature, but it's a little weird. And then as far as like custom galleries, that's also would be a cool feature, like to bring in to be able to customize and have Ecamm actually build the gallery and make it nice and
Yeah,
pretty.
because the screen share is, it's got the names and the mute buttons and stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's not as pretty.
Yeah, Rich Graham wants to know what is the purpose of the new title bar appearing when hovering over the main program window? Um, yeah, see, this isn't something new in the beta. Like, there's a title bar in the window,
Oh yeah.
and what is the purpose? I guess it's just because for some reason, historical reasons, for the past several years, the Ecamm Live main window just doesn't have a title bar. So
Hmm.
we were like, well, let's add a title bar, and now there's a title bar. So if you want to move this, not even working right. If you want to move the window around, you can use this title bar to move the window around. And
Yeah,
that,
some people were kind of just like mind boggled. How do I move the Ecamm window? I was always told that you moved a window by dragging it from the title bar, and there isn't one. And so, how do I move the window? And so, the purpose of that was to answer that question in people's minds: How do I move the Ecamm window? Uh,
yeah, there,
and the old answer was just like pick it up from anywhere, unless you're clicking on an overlay, which in case you would move the overlay and not the window, and that was kind of annoying a lot of the time. And so now you can do it by the title bar, which works most of the time, except just now, which is the first time I've ever seen it do what just happened
yeah,
live on the
I'm
air,
just going to ignore
where the
that, pretend
title
that
bar
didn't
moved
happen.
and the window didn't.
Thomas Fraley wants to know, is there any update on when we'll get an updated loop deck plugin? No update, but we have that on our list. It looks like loop deck changed the way their plugins work. So our current plugin
And
does not work at all. Loop deck
so
is
Loop Deck is a Loop
something like a
Deck is
stream
a
deck.
like a Stream Deck, but a different company.
Yeah, they're cool and they're but the plugin requires staying on, I think, the old 5.9 version of Loop Deck. So we're working on that. And he says another subject I'd love to see support for SRT incoming and destinations. Um, that is something we haven't really dug into, but we are aware that RTMP is not the only game in town when it comes to streaming. Um, and the SRT would be a big help. So that's on our list. Uh, Ellie says, well, this is more of a bug report. Every time there's a new build, all of my scene folders seem to expand. Is this a bug? I'm gonna go with bug because I don't know. I don't know what would cause that. Maybe we can
I've
track that
never
down.
I never heard of that.
Um,
The little spin downs all spin and your folders all open?
yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
In general, like an update shouldn't really do anything to your app. And then it sounds like another sort of like weird buggy question from Karabo. Why does the iPhone camera keep disconnecting by default? He doesn't have any other cameras. Um, maybe something we need to try, just
I
having that as
think
your only camera.
we saw like a weird thing where like when you plug in are you if you're plugging in your iPhone over USB to try to use it as a camera, sometimes like it'll start using it for something else, like a hotspot, and that will kill the camera part, and vice versa. Um, I've heard people complain about the other way, where like they were using their phone as a hotspot. Ecamm sees it and goes, ah, a camera, and then their hotspot dies. So I think that the phone, when it's over USB, can only like do one thing at a time. So you may want to look at see if you can disable the personal hotspot feature on your
Hmm.
phone, unless of course you were planning to use it for your live stream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
the
seems like only one works at a time.
Apple's
And you might want to
continuity
look for
camera.
your camera. For your camera, you might want to look at using a tool like Camo, which will act as a camera in a different way and won't necessarily have this Apple weirdness of disappearing and reappearing randomly.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. What I was gonna say was continuity camera, which is Apple's feature where your phone magically wirelessly turns into a camera, is kind of like runs contrary to Ecamm Live's cool feature of just like running every camera it sees, right? Like we like look at my like any camera you have plugged in down here, it's just gonna run. So like if we see continuity camera and run it, like your pocket is gonna be making a dinging sound all the time. So we are actually kind of like the app is kind of like very delicate about when to start continuity camera. So it's possible there's some bug where we're like we don't want to we're not confident enough to start it because we don't want to be making your phone go crazy all the time. So we can take a look at that, see if we can track that down. Um, uh, Ballard Vibes, thanks for joining us and thanks for trying the new PTZ feature. He says, will there be an option to resize the remote control for the PTZ camera on the screen? It's not on, it wasn't on our roadmap, but if you're looking for like a more like miniature version of that, that sounds like a cool idea. The
yeah, let us know
PTZ,
what parts that you want to see and which parts you don't, or you just want it smaller. Like I
yeah,
guess it is kind of big.
yeah. And Tech Troublemaker says, is there a way to to default system audio every time you create a screen share? Um, I thought it should be like typically with our overlays, it inherits your old setting, but maybe we're not doing that for this activate. There's like this activate system audio capture checkbox. Um, Let me see if I know if I make a new overlay. Yeah, I guess we could easily fix that. Like we could pull in your settings from the last overlay for that. So make a note to fix that. And then I saw
But
a
he's not talking
question.
about overlays. He says share scene.
Oh, well, default system audio every. Yeah, I mean, there is a way. If you look in the audio preferences, there's this picker. When do you want to broadcast system audio? I have mine set to all the time, but you can set this to when sharing the screen, and then it's automatically going to turn on system audio whenever you have a screen share running. So definitely check that out. And I saw a related feature from Eden, skipping ahead a little bit. Is there a way to add system audio without adding a screen capture? Yeah, same answer there. Um, just set that to all the time, and then you will it'll basically just pulling in system audio. And if you're on the beta, we now give you the ability to pick which app you want to pull that audio from. So kind of a neat feature there. I just have it picked to grab audio from Safari only right now, and it's not gonna. You don't have to worry about getting audio from your Zoom call. Everything we handle all that. So many great questions today. Stephen Wicks wants to know, will the Ecamm for Zoom virtual camera stop working if the required speed is not met? I had to switch to my regular camera during a Zoom call recently. My regular camera continued working. Not sure what's going on there, but we can
So
check. check that out for you. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, let us know if that happens again. There isn't any kind of like intentional reason it would stop working. That sounds like a bug.
Paul has another vote for making our tickers better. Ticker
What?
width. This is the idea of like a ticker that doesn't extend
Oh, that
across your whole
doesn't.
screen.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
That's been on our list for a long time. Somehow it never
Yeah.
seems to happen. But we hear you. George wants to know, will there be an option to output in two different sizes, horizontal and vertical at the same time? This is on our roadmap too. It's not in there now, but this is a common request to like go out in this shape to YouTube and then a tall shape to something like Instagram. So that's something that we're working on. Um, um, Here's a question about schedule in the Facebook. Unquestionable TV had a Facebook live stream set. The time was changed in Facebook itself. Time went by, so now no prompt in Ecamm upcoming streams. Any way to relink the Facebook live event with the stream again? Um, that's a good question. It's really kind of complicated the way that stuff works, right? Um, it should be coming in from it should be coming in from Facebook. But there's the concept of like Ecamm Live knowing about like if you scheduled it in Ecamm Live, um, that may be a little different. Yeah, that can get a little confusing. But I feel like that should be possible. I have to think a little bit more about that. But in
Should it
general,
be?
like
Shouldn't it be showing up if it's in the future, no matter what?
it should be, but if we had decided it was like, I don't know, try unquestionable, try removing that Facebook destination in Ecamm Live and re-adding it and see if it pulls in the scheduled items. Because it
And
should be.
if you're on the beta, grab the non-beta because I think that there's a little bit of breakage in the betas current in the Facebook integration in the current beta that we noticed a few days ago that will get fixed in the next beta drop. Yeah.
Um, all right, we should probably wrap this up. I'm just scrolling through to get some, see if there's any more questions we got to answer here. I see a lot that we're not going to get to. Um, um, Marco's asking about the speed of PTZ camera control. Um, this is like really dependent on the actual camera itself. And we do have a handful of cameras we test with. But if there's something that doesn't look quite right, get in touch and let us know. Right now, the only known issue I know is that OBSBot tail air drives around kind of all funky. Um,
Kind of
but
all funky.
and then there's some cameras do support the movement speed, and some don't support that. So yeah, get in touch and let us know what you have there. Right now, I have it should be nice and smooth and adjustable, but may not be on certain cameras. And also on that note, if you have a camera that Ecamm Live doesn't seem to recognize as a PTZ camera, let us know. Um, ProCraps asking, does the new screen sharing feature, which uses native macOS now, fix the weird way that screen share overlays resize and morph when you move them on your screen?
He means like if you resize the window or no, move the window. I don't know. It might still be weird.
It's a good question. Yeah, we're doing our best. It does solve a lot of issues. Hopefully, the new screen sharing looks a lot better, is a lot uh, easier on your processor. But if you notice any weirdness going on, let us know, and maybe we can fix that. Uh, uh, Sonam is saying, When I use recent beta Ecamm for my class on Zoom, my students say they can't see anything, just my Zoom profile picture. I'm missing some setting. That sounds maybe like what would happen if your video wasn't turned on. Like if you look in in your um your Zoom meeting, I guess just make sure that this video button is not like slashed out. Um, because like if I uncheck this, like Ken's now just gonna see my profile
Yeah,
icon.
confirmed.
Yeah. So check on that. Uh, I feel like we were making in a previous version, we were making sure that that was turned on, but then people were saying like they don't want it turned on. So maybe we got that, took that out of there.
Yeah, I think we were like forcing it on. People were like, "Oh, they're getting forced on. No one was supposed to see me." And so we took out the forcing on.
This is a great question from Eric because we know the answer. Is there a reason why sometimes sound effects can be heard in Zoom and sometimes not? Um,
Hmm.
so the
Like
Ecamm
right now,
Live,
I can't hear the sound effects. When you did the
yeah,
Gold Mug Club, I didn't hear
yeah,
I'm assuming there was sounds with that, but I
yeah.
didn't hear it.
So it's confusing as hell because the um, Ecamm Live is trying to take care of all the details and it makes sure that your Zoom audience and your Zoom guests are not just hearing you, they're hearing all the sound from the broadcast. But Zoom is also trying to be clever and it is doing really intensive audio isolation on what you hear in the Zoom call. So your guests, even though Ecamm Live is sending your guests the stream's audio, Zoom is like, oh, there's background music, or oh, there's a sound of a barking dog in the background, and it's gonna take out that sound. So like Ken was saying, he couldn't hear when I ran the Gold Mug Club.
Good enough.
I love that.
And I also
Um,
like couldn't hear your voice for a second. Like
yeah,
Zoom was just like, I'm gonna send nothing
yeah.
because
So in answer to
obviously
your question,
jinglings.
Eric, that is Zoom. So the way to get around that is to change Zoom's audio processing settings. We touch on that a little bit in our settings. If you look in the Zoom settings, um, you can say disable Zoom's audio processing
Oh, try
entirely.
that.
So if I
Try
pick
that.
that,
Now do the coins.
so say something, Ken.
Hello.
So hypothetically, Ken's not echoing because Ecamm Lite has its own echo cancellation. So, but Zoom is not doing any other audio processing. So you probably now hear like the cars out on the street a little more.
No,
But if I run, you don't.
you're not, they're not hearing you through Zoom.
I mean, Ken would.
Oh yeah.
But if
But
I
hit the
play,
button now.
let's see if Ken.
Yeah. I hear it now. I
Yeah.
hear
So
the
it's
that reply.
so it is a difference. It is Zoom's processing, and if you can use either that picker or you can go into Zoom settings, and they have like 10,000 different audio related settings, like audio for musicians and all that. So if you do fiddle with that stuff, just keep in mind that you might also be turning off Zoom's echo cancellation. So just make sure you have some sort of working echo cancellation happening or headphones to keep the audience from hearing themselves. Uh, yeah, I love questions I know the answer to.
I see a easy one there at the bottom from Tommy. I listen.
The live motion one.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work with text boxes, Ken?
Um, I it was higher than it seemed like it would be, and I just said we'll do that some other time. So the text won't it does not animate. Um, maybe we can look at that later.
Yeah, yeah, that
So
would be
like
cool.
if
Like,
this comment was in one spot on one scene and another spot on another scene, it would not slide over. It would just crossfade. So it's a valid question, but the
yeah, I
answer is
mean,
no.
so right now live motion works for cameras, screen shares, widgets, and images, but not text or shapes, right?
Right.
So if we hear a lot of of asking for that. Likely we can add that in there. Um, and and get that to work. Uh, one more question here before we go. Talks with 2K is asking, is there a way I can customize my text for each slide? When I change one, it seems to change all of them. Text. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure I'm really understanding the question perfectly, but in general, a text overlay can apply to your whole broadcast or just the scene itself. And if you take a look here in the overlays menu, you see these little subheadings, show in all scene and show in current scene. So like this text, it's just in this scene. Um, and if I make a new scene, it's gone, and I can change, I can put any text I want here. And so yeah, to check that out, just make sure your text is not in this section here, show in all scenes, where it's just going to be there all the time. So maybe that's what you're running into. If not, get in touch. Also, it's possible that you're not using the scenes feature. If you're just showing and hiding slides, I can see how that might not be changing the text. So if you're not using scenes, the answer is use Ecamm Live's scenes feature and switch between scenes rather than just switching between overlays. All right, I think that kind of brings us to the end of our Q&A. I
Yeah.
can't wait to go through the comments afterwards and look and see what else came in. Before I actually forgot to mention earlier, but we did receive a super chat. Thank you so much
Ooh.
to Harrison Family Values for your $5 super chat. And so we have to answer this question. Will there be a podcast sound audio option that will clean up the audio and decrease noise? That is something that we're looking at, having the having a built-in audio enhancer. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you again for the super chat. All right, everybody, it's that time again where we have to say goodbye. Thank you all, 100-something people, for joining us today on YouTube, sending in your questions and your comments. Like I said, I'm going to read through all this and see what else happened, because I just had this all filtered by question. I didn't actually see any of the other comments.
The non-questions.
All right, we're going to go to our outro screen, and I'll put some comments on the screen like we usually do. But until next time, maybe we'll see you in February. Bye, everybody, and thanks for being part of the Ecamm fam.
Bye.